The great Buddha once wisely said, "Nothing can harm you as much as your own thoughts unguarded." Have you ever wished you could stay calm and centered no matter what life throws at you? What if there were ancient teachings that could make you unshakable, even in the face of chaos? These timeless Buddhist principles have helped countless people find peace and strength in the most challenging situations. They're not just philosophies, they're practical tools that can transform the way you experience the world. In this video, we'll reveal 5 of these powerful principles, each designed to build an inner fortress of serenity and resilience. Ready to find out how nothing can affect you? 1. Equanimity, the balance amidst life's storms. Equanimity is a cornerstone of Buddhist practice, representing a state of mental calmness and evenness of temper, especially in difficult situations. It's about cultivating an inner balance that remains unshaken by external circumstances, whether they are favorable or adverse. In a world filled with constant change and uncertainty, equanimity offers a refuge, a place of unshakable peace that is not swayed by the tides of fortune. At its core, equanimity involves developing a mindset that accepts life as it is, without getting overly attached to pleasure or overly distressed by pain. This doesn't mean becoming indifferent or apathetic. Rather, it's about maintaining a centered mind that can observe experiences without being pulled into emotional extremes. It's the understanding that every experience, whether joyful or painful, is temporary and part of the natural ebb and flow of life. To cultivate equanimity, one must first recognize the transient nature of all things. Life is impermanent. Everything is subject to change. By deeply understanding and accepting this truth, we can begin to let go of our attachments to outcomes, whether they are good or bad. This detachment doesn't imply a lack of care, but rather a release of the need for control over things that are beyond our influence. In doing so, we free ourselves from the emotional turmoil that often arises from unmet expectations and disappointments. Another key aspect of equanimity is mindfulness. By staying fully present in the moment, we can observe our thoughts and emotions as they arise, without being swept away by them. Mindfulness allows us to witness the workings of our mind with a clear and unbiased perspective. When we are mindful, we can catch the initial stirrings of anger, fear, or desire before they take root and disrupt our inner peace. This self-awareness is crucial for maintaining equanimity, as it empowers us to respond to life's challenges with calmness and wisdom, rather than with reactive emotions. Equanimity also involves cultivating compassion and understanding for others. Recognizing that everyone is subject to the same impermanent nature of life can foster a sense of empathy and connection. This understanding helps us to remain patient and kind, even in difficult interactions, as we see beyond the immediate situation and understand the broader context of human suffering. In essence, equanimity is about finding a steady ground within ourselves, where we can stand firm regardless of what life brings. It's a practice of deep inner peace and resilience, allowing us to navigate the world with grace and tranquility. Through equanimity, we can face life's inevitable ups and downs without losing our balance, maintaining a calm and centered mind that nothing can disturb. 2. Mindfulness, the art of living fully in the present moment. Mindfulness is a foundational Buddhist principle that emphasizes the importance of being fully present in each moment. It's the practice of bringing one's attention to the here and now, observing thoughts, feelings, and sensations without judgment. In a world where our minds are often scattered, jumping between the past and the future, mindfulness offers a way to ground ourselves in the present, where life truly unfolds. At its essence, mindfulness is about awareness, being conscious of what is happening both within and around us. This awareness is not merely passive observation, it is an active engagement with the present moment. By focusing on the present, we can fully experience life as it is, without the distractions of worry, regret, or anticipation. This presence allows us to respond to situations with clarity and intention, rather than reacting impulsively or out of habit. One of the key benefits of mindfulness is its ability to reduce stress and anxiety. When we are mindful, We are not lost in thoughts about the past or future. Instead, we are anchored in the present, where we can address what is directly in front of us. This focus can significantly reduce the mental clutter that often leads to stress. By staying present, we prevent our minds from wandering into areas of concern that do not serve us in the moment. This calm and clear state of mind is essential for maintaining emotional well-being and mental clarity. Mindfulness also enhances our relationships with others. When we practice mindfulness in our interactions, we listen more deeply, speak more thoughtfully, and engage more fully. This presence fosters genuine connections, as we are truly there with the other person, rather than being distracted by our own thoughts or concerns. It allows us to respond with empathy and understanding, strengthening our bonds with those around us. Furthermore, mindfulness can be applied to any activity, whether it's eating, walking, working, or simply breathing. By paying full attention to the task at hand, we can find deeper satisfaction and meaning in even the most mundane activities. This approach transforms routine tasks into opportunities for mindfulness practice, enriching our daily lives with greater awareness and appreciation. Incorporating mindfulness into our lives requires practice and patience. It involves consistently bringing our attention back to the present whenever we notice our minds wandering. Over time, this practice can become a natural way of being, allowing us to live more fully and authentically. Mindfulness is not about escaping the realities of life. It's about embracing them with full awareness and openness. By living in the present, we can experience life more vividly and respond to it more effectively, cultivating a sense of peace and fulfillment that transcends the chaos of the external world. 3. Impermanence. Embracing the ever-changing nature of life. Impermanence, known as anicca in Pali, is a fundamental Buddhist teaching that underscores the transient nature of all things. Everything in life, from our emotions and thoughts to the physical world around us, is in a constant state of flux. Understanding and accepting this truth is key to finding peace and freedom from suffering, as it allows us to let go of attachments and embrace the flow of life with grace. At the heart of impermanence is the recognition that nothing remains the same. Our bodies age, relationships evolve, seasons change, and even the most stable structures eventually decay. This continuous cycle of change is an inevitable aspect of existence. However, rather than fearing or resisting it, Buddhism teaches us to see the beauty in impermanence. By acknowledging that all things are temporary, we can learn to appreciate the present moment more deeply, knowing that it too will pass. One of the most profound implications of impermanence is its impact on our attachments. Human beings tend to cling to things, whether they are possessions, relationships, or experiences, in an effort to find stability and happiness. Yet, because everything is impermanent, these attachments often lead to disappointment and suffering when the things we hold onto inevitably change or disappear. By embracing impermanence, we can begin to loosen our grip on these attachments, understanding that clinging only leads to suffering. This doesn't mean we shouldn't care about or enjoy the things in our lives, but rather that we should do so with the awareness that they are not permanent and should not be the source of our lasting happiness. Impermanence also invites us to cultivate a sense of non-attachment and flexibility in how we approach life. When we accept that change is a natural part of existence, we become more adaptable and resilient in the face of life's ups and downs. Instead of resisting change or mourning what is lost, we can embrace new experiences and opportunities with an open heart and mind. This adaptability is crucial for maintaining inner peace, as it allows us to navigate life's challenges without being thrown off balance by the inevitable changes that occur. Moreover, the concept of impermanence encourages us to live more mindfully. Knowing that each moment is fleeting, we are inspired to fully engage with the present, savoring the experiences and connections that we encounter. This mindful awareness not only enhances our appreciation of life, but also helps us to respond to situations with greater wisdom and compassion, as we recognize that everything is part of the ever-changing flow of existence. In summary, impermanence is a powerful teaching that invites us to accept and embrace the constant changes that characterize life. By understanding that nothing is permanent, we can release our attachments, cultivate flexibility, and live more mindfully. This acceptance of impermanence is not a resignation to fate, but a path to true freedom and peace, as it allows us to flow with the currents of life, rather than being caught in the futile struggle to hold on to what is inevitably passing. 4. Compassion, the heart of understanding and connection. Compassion, known as karuna in Buddhism, is the profound feeling of empathy and concern for the suffering of others, coupled with a genuine desire to alleviate that suffering. It is not merely an emotion, but a way of being that transcends personal boundaries and connects us with all living beings. Practicing compassion is central to the Buddhist path, as it fosters deep understanding, strengthens relationships, and leads to a more harmonious and peaceful world. At its core, compassion arises from the recognition that all beings, like ourselves, wish to be free from suffering. This understanding bridges the gap between self and others, creating a sense of shared humanity. When we realize that others experience pain, fear, and longing just as we do, we naturally develop a sense of empathy. This empathy motivates us to act with kindness, patience, and care, seeking not only to ease the suffering we witness, but also to prevent it where possible. Compassion is closely linked to wisdom in Buddhism. It is not about pity or condescension, but about seeing others with clear eyes and an open heart. Compassion requires us to step beyond our judgments and prejudices, to truly understand the circumstances and struggles that others face. This deeper understanding allows us to offer help in ways that are genuinely beneficial, rather than driven by our own assumptions or desires. In this sense, compassion is both an emotional and intellectual practice, engaging our hearts and minds in the service of others. One of the most transformative aspects of compassion is its ability to soften our hearts and dissolve the barriers that separate us from others. When we cultivate compassion, we begin to see the world through a lens of kindness and connection. This shift in perspective can have profound effects on our relationships. By approaching others with compassion, we create an environment of trust and openness, where understanding and mutual support can flourish. Even in the face of conflict or misunderstanding, compassion enables us to respond with patience and love, rather than with anger or resentment. Moreover, compassion extends beyond interpersonal relationships to encompass all living beings. In Buddhism, this is known as universal compassion or Mahakaruna, the great compassion that embraces all life. Practicing universal compassion encourages us to care for the world around us, to protect the environment, and to advocate for the well-being of all creatures. It reminds us that our actions have far-reaching consequences, and that our compassion should be boundless, extending to all beings without exception. Developing compassion is a practice that requires mindfulness and dedication. It involves continually reminding ourselves to act with kindness, even in situations where it may be challenging. Over time, as we make compassion a regular part of our lives, it becomes a natural expression of our true nature. This practice not only benefits those around us, but also brings us deep inner peace and fulfillment. By cultivating compassion, we align ourselves with the fundamental Buddhist principle of interconnectedness, recognizing that our own happiness is intrinsically linked to the happiness of others. Through compassion, we can contribute to a world where suffering is lessened, and love and understanding prevail. 5. Non-attachment, the path to inner freedom and peace. Non-attachment, or upekkha in Buddhist terms, is the practice of letting go of our clinging to desires, material possessions, and even our ego-driven identities. It is a central principle in Buddhism, teaching that true freedom and peace arise not from acquiring or holding onto things, but from releasing our grasp on them. Non-attachment is not about renunciation of life, but about engaging with it without being bound by it, allowing us to live more freely, fully, and contentedly. At the core of non-attachment is the understanding that clinging to anything, whether it's physical possessions, relationships, or ideas, leads to suffering. This is because all things are impermanent, And when we attach ourselves to them, we set ourselves up for disappointment when they inevitably change or fade away. The Buddha taught that our attachments are the root cause of our suffering because they create a false sense of security and permanence. By practicing non-attachment, we begin to dismantle these illusions, freeing ourselves from the cycle of craving and dissatisfaction. Non-attachment is often misunderstood as a cold detachment from life, but in reality, it allows us to engage more deeply and lovingly with the world. When we are not attached, we can appreciate things and people for what they are, rather than what we want them to be. This clarity enables us to love more freely, without the need to control or possess. It also allows us to experience joy in the present moment, rather than constantly striving for something more or fearing the loss of what we have. In this way, non-attachment enhances our ability to be fully present and connected in our relationships and experiences. One of the key practices in cultivating non-attachment is mindfulness. By being fully aware of our thoughts, emotions, and actions, we can observe where our attachments lie and how they influence our behavior. This awareness helps us to gradually loosen our grip on these attachments, recognizing them for the transient and often illusory constructs they are. Through mindfulness, we learn to let go of our need for control and accept life as it unfolds, with all its uncertainties and changes. Another important aspect of non-attachment is the cultivation of inner contentment. By focusing on our inner well-being rather than external circumstances, we build a foundation of peace that is not dependent on anything outside ourselves. This inner stability allows us to navigate life's challenges without being thrown off balance by loss, change, or disappointment. It also fosters a sense of gratitude and appreciation for what we have, rather than constantly seeking more. In summary, non-attachment is a powerful practice that leads to greater freedom, peace, and fulfillment. By letting go of our clinging and desires, we release ourselves from the suffering they cause and open ourselves up to a life of greater ease and joy. Non-attachment does not mean withdrawing from life, but engaging with it more deeply, with a heart that is free from the chains of possession and expectation. Through non-attachment, we discover that true happiness lies not in holding on, but in the ability to let go. As we conclude, remember that these 5 Buddhist principles aren't just ideas. They're powerful practices that can shield your mind and spirit from life's inevitable challenges. By integrating equanimity, mindfulness, impermanence, compassion, and non-attachment into your daily life, you can cultivate an inner strength that nothing can shake. The world may continue to change around you, but with these teachings, you'll remain calm, centered, and resilient. Keep practicing these principles, and you'll find that true peace comes not from avoiding difficulties, but from mastering your response to them. If you found these principles valuable, make sure to subscribe to Buddhism Bliss for more wisdom and guidance. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update.